We are down to the final few battles of training camp. Who impressed? We're going to talk about it on today's Locked On Mammoth.
You are Locked On Mammoth, your daily podcast on the Utah Mammoth, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome in, as always, to Locked On Mammoth. I'm veteran NHL voice Tom Callahan, joined by longtime team analyst Robyn Leaño, and we are the dynamic duo that brings you Locked On Mammoth each and every single weekday, 5 times a week. Thanks for joining us. A lot to talk about here as we head into the weekend. Preseason games are dwindling. We had a big one Thursday night. We're going to recap that win over the LA Kings. Who impressed? Who didn't? More roster cuts came down. And then later in the show, we're going to show off the brand new 10th anniversary Tucson Roadrunners Kachina jerseys, which are pretty cool. And both Robyn and I have a soft spot for the Roadrunners in our heart and always will. So we'll be talking about those. But Robyn, last night we talked about heading into that game in our preview was the biggest chance yet for a lot of players who might be on the bubble to make an impact. In your opinion, looking at that game from last night, who do you think succeeded in making that impact?
Ooh, that's a good question because here's the interesting thing, Tom. This game, for the most part, what we saw was as close to the NHL squad that we're going to see. I think there were a couple out there who were missing, but I will say this. Daniel Boot is continuing to really put his foot forward and trying to make a spot.
I would agree with you on that one. Definitely. Want to let you know today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. I think Boot is definitely one that checks off on my list. Another guy who, from the time camp started to where he is now, has really grabbed my attention, and I did talk about this a little bit last week, but Robyn, it hasn't stopped yet, is Simishev. I really feel like I'm becoming a bigger and bigger believer in potentially, not like, Bill Armstrong doesn't know what he's doing here. But when he said, I feel pretty good about these guys having a chance to crack the lineup coming over, I'm like, well, we'll see. They got to adjust. They're young. They really have to acclimate to North America on and off the ice. That's a big hill to climb for a couple of youngsters. Robyn, both of them look like they are climbing that hill just fine.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's it's funny because you and I have talked about how we were disappointed in them in rookie camp. And they're both of them, right? And we're like, they
wanted to see more.
And at that point, you and I were looking at projections going into training camp, and we put them both as it's gonna take them a lot to get in. Have they met those expectations though? I mean, I think they're pretty there, right? They've made it this far, right? They've got we're at the end of the preseason at this point, right? There's only really one game left to play.
That's right. Saturday against the Sharks. And this is, as you say, this is the tune-up. The Kings was pretty close, and some of the battles, a couple of them, I don't want to say they're decided, but there are more cuts. We are going to talk about those cuts later in the program. But Robyn, as far as the guys who impressed and are still sticking around, those are pretty big, I think, as far as, I don't want to say changing the direction of the team, but perhaps moving this team a bit further forward in its progress. If those two guys specifically, because one's a forward, one's a defenseman, they will impact up and down the lineup of which guys stick, which guys maybe find themselves without a job here. I think that's something we got to think about. So that to me is pretty big right there. The two of them, and I'll tell you what, if Boot shows that he's able to contribute offensively on a regular basis,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be awful hard to argue to not put him in the lineup.
Yep, absolutely. I am looking in just some some quick news. I know we're gonna get into some cuts later, Tom, but just to kind of let people know what's going on from practice today. Looking at it, where Boot actually right now is dealing with an illness, so did not practice today. But we'll maybe see if he gets inserted into the lineup tomorrow against the Sharks, or maybe just give him the day to rest up again, or just but give him the shot with opening night roster at this point if he's deserved it. At this point, McBain is ready to come back. They say
Yes.
McBain is ready to play, which is nice to have. You're gonna get him inserted back into the lineup. We'll see where he fits with everybody else. I think that's gonna be huge. And then from last I checked, I believe Cooley is still day to day, but he's close, so that's good.
I have to ask you about, or I almost said Jerome Iginla. Ha, Tej
Uh,
Iginla. But Iginla is a guy who is he here because of the injuries, or is he here because he's still earning it, or a little bit of both, maybe? What's your take on that?
I feel like it's a mix of both. I feel like because of the injuries, they are taking a look at, all right, can you fit? Can you, what's the kind of position that you can play in? Where's your role going to be with this team? Because you are going to be an important part of this team. There's still some development to be made. I think we're noticing that, but he's still impressing nonetheless, right? He still looks like he very well could be NHL ready, and I think that's why we had Russ Cohen on right back, about a month ago, talking about um, how ready is he, right? And he looked pretty darn close to being ready, according to him, based off just his size alone, right? Um, Last I checked, I think too, like I think like again, not necessarily injured, but I think he's just kind of maybe dealing with something tweaked or something. He did not play yesterday. He kind of was just out, maybe on a maintenance days or whatever it is. He was listed as day to day because this is what they do in the preseason, right? But
Right.
um, I think he's there because he deserves it, though.
And it'll be interesting to see, as you mentioned, with some of these guys coming back. And of course, we don't 100% know when Cooley's going to be back. Hopefully, he's back for opening night. But if he's not, that could create a spot where perhaps an Iginla draws in, maybe Boots also getting a look see, and there's no hurry to send these guys back, because if they sit, let's also be clear on that. For those who may not know, the everydayers probably do know, but just in case you don't, if a player uh, is sitting out for a game, that does not count as one of those 10 games against starting the ELC clock ticking. They actually have to play the games. So not just being on the roster, they have to be inserted into the lineup and actually log an official game played. So just want to be clear on that. And so there's no massive hurry, because 10 games to even get to that ninth game could take maybe 2 months with Iginla. But the question becomes then, Robyn, is a player like Iginla better served staying in the NHL, practicing with a big club, playing some games, or going back to junior hockey where we know he's going to dominate,
Mm-hmm.
but will get consistent top line minutes in every situation?
I mean, here is my take, and I feel like people can disagree with this on me, and people can either can actually say they do agree with me. Whatever it is, I don't know. But I really believe that Iginla should have his shot as get his 9 game tryout period. However, here's the however. I think it should be in a consistent way. I don't like rather than getting the what I'm just gonna call the Shane Wright treatment, right? Where like they just scratched for 5 games and then he starts a game, then scratched again for 10 more games, and then he starts again. Like that's not that isn't going to help him in any way to do that.
Right.
Because he's off the ice for too long at that point. You want to see him truly. It's like how long, like how much can keep up at an NHL level pace for like a week straight, right? 2 weeks straight. And that full NHL, not preseason NHL, but full speed NHL. And I think that's why he needs his 9-game tryout period. Even if it's less, right? Let's say he gets 6 games, right? That's what I want to see him try. And even if he looks ready at that point, I still think he's still best served going back to Kelowna and finishing his development there for 1 more year.
I think at the end of the day, we know he's going to put up crazy numbers going back to junior, but the whole point of going back to junior is not, I actually don't care what numbers Iginla puts up this year. That's not the point.
Right.
The point for me is for Iginla to learn to be a good, solid, dependable two-way player at the center position. That is the most important thing. This is working on your craft. This is honing your ability to be the best possible pivot you can be in the NHL, because a lot of failed centers end up on the wing. I don't want to see Iginla be a failed center who ends up on the wing, even if he's over there and dominates and scores 40 goals. I'd rather see him in the middle if you can, because it is so hard, Robyn, to get an NHL caliber center. And that's why they're so coveted.
Especially when they are, when Iginla is being trained to be essentially, in the ideal world here, Utah's number 2C, right? It's going to be Cooley and Iginla as the 1 and 2C, and that when those two are in their prime, Tom, that 1-2 punch is just going to be unbelievable.
Well, they're going to be 2-3 because when they sign McDavid in the free agency period, it's going to shake the league to its core. So, yeah, we
might as well also trigger all the Leafs fans again and just say somehow steal Austin Matthews for a bag of pucks.
There you go. Yeah. Leafs fans. Yeah, don't get me started. Okay, we have to talk about the cuts that did come down today, because they do impact the lineup for tomorrow, very obviously. And it now narrows our focus on the battles that do remain. As we're talking about these players who look good right now, this is going to focus us up a little more. And I do have, Robyn, a couple other players I want to mention, specifically one line from last night's game. And today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Hey, the NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action, whether you're a casual fan or you love diving into the stats. FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño, Locked on Mammoth. Hey, if you're still here, please subscribe. We bring you great content like this every single weekday. Go ahead and click that bell as well on YouTube to get the notifications when we drop a new episode. But 5 days a week minimum. We're going to be bringing bonus shows up the wazoo this year. So that's going to also be an awful lot of fun. And we just love having you guys
asked
here.
For live shows. We're going to give
you
live shows.
You did. So. We're going to give you lives. We're going to do it. So, and hopefully we'll be announcing some plans for a live here relatively soon.
It's coming. I'm finalizing some details. Okay. Yes. That's what I'll tell you. I'm finalizing some details, and it's a good one.
Yes, it will be fantastic.
Yeah. It's taking longer than I expected, because I did tell you guys last week, but it's going to be a little bit longer. But be sure to stay tuned. And I know you guys are very patient, and you guys are also very excited to find out what exactly is happening.
Yes, I'm excited to find out what's happening. So
I keep Tom in the dark. I don't tell him anything.
That's right. I don't find out to the last minute. Yeah. So that's it. Okay, I want to talk about some of the cuts that were made today, and then I want to talk about, Robyn, a line in particular that I was very impressed with in the game yesterday. But the Mammoth have placed goaltender Matt Villalta on waivers for the purpose of assigning him to Tucson of the American Hockey League. Scott Perunovich and Ben McCartney have been assigned to Tucson as they've cleared waivers, so they will report there. And also Gabe Smith was sent back to the Moncton Wildcats in the queue. So 4 players. Smith hung on a lot longer in camp than I thought he might. And congratulations to him, because I think he really made a huge leap forward in his stock. We should do, Robin, an episode before the season, whose stock went up and whose stock went down in training camp.
Mm-hmm.
He'd
Oh
be
yeah, no,
up for me.
absolutely. He would be up. And here's the other thing too when it comes to a guy like Gabe Smith is they brought him in and I feel like his role was to be a banger, right? He's to kind of get out there, throw his body, and do what he can. And maybe one of the reasons that they kept him so long was to kind of fill a gap, and not the whole gap because different kind of player, but still like the physicality is in similarness. So I want to see what they can do, but filling at least a small gap they left behind while Jack McBain was injured. Right? Because it made sense, right? Jack McBain's ready to play. He will play tomorrow against the Sharks. Gabe Smith gets reassigned.
Right.
Then, to me, it made sense.
Yeah, it does. And I think it's a feather in the cap for Smith as he goes back to junior hockey. I think he's going to have just a fantastic year. Looking forward to seeing what he produces this year. So that was a good one. Perunovic going down. I liked him, what I saw from him in camp, but he and McCartney heading down. I think they both, again, they made some pretty positive impacts heading down to Tucson. Now, this Tucson Roadrunners team, and I know we're going to talk about them next segment, could be really good this year.
They're going to be good. Yeah.
They really could. They could be a force to be reckoned with in the American League. So looking forward to that. And then Villalta, I mean, it's pretty obvious that Vanacek was going to be the backup to begin with. And Robin, we may have to do an episode on the potential goaltending question at some point. We're not going to get into that now.
Not today. But I know in the comments you guys are already talking about.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So. Vanacek looked good.
He looked
really
great.
Good.
He looked like, and I think they even showed his like save percentage too through like either was it through the preseason or through the game. It said 96 point or 9675 or something like that. And you're like, that is fantastic.
Solid, very solid. Yeah, no, he's doing pretty well for himself. But I got to talk about the Lawson Krause line. Robin, we got to talk about that line. They looked really good. Now, look, that second goal that Krause scored, look, that's a squeaker. Forsberg wants that goal back. But still, those guys were buzzing. They were all over the place, and they were forcing some things to happen. And, Robin, did you notice late in the game who got bumped up to the first line? It was Kyler Yamamoto. Got bumped up to the first line.
Yamamoto has been, I've been loving them. I think, again, you're right. That line as a whole, Krause, Stenlund, Yamamoto looked great.
They did.
I mean, Stenlund getting, getting his couple of points there, plus
shootout goal.
Yeah, shootout goal. I love when they do the preseason shootouts. Like, it really, really means that much of a difference, but they just want to do it because, like,
well, you got to practice. You got to practice. So, I enjoyed that. And so, for those of you who are wondering, yes, they decided ahead of time that they were going to do the shootout after the game, and they went 5 rounds instead of the customary 3, and it actually went to round 6. But it just gives them a chance to practice that against another team. So that's a big reason why. But Robin. Oh, we talked so much about Krause, how important Krause could be. He could be either a mover and shaker and someone who really drives the team forward this year, or if we get a last year loss in Krause, could be somebody who might weigh them down a little bit. So far, I think we've got the former, and that is exciting to see.
And I think what's nice is so it's really interesting when you put it in an observational point when you're talking about Lawson Krause, because I love to point to the COVID shortened year where they had the taxi squad and everything like that, where Lawson Krause was snake bitten, and every time he would take a shot, it would hit the post. He would just get too many dingers, right? He would just keep coming out, hitting and then going out, and hitting and going out, and he looked snake bitten. He looked frustrated with himself. And I saw a mirror image of that last year with the Mammoth, or the Utah Hockey Club at that point. What you notice though, what's great is Krause owns it, right? He doesn't blame anybody else. He doesn't blame teammates. He doesn't blame it on a stick. He doesn't do anything like that, right? He looks inward. Obviously, he gets frustrated for a while. I feel like he holds on to the frustration a little bit long, but he's still when the off season comes, he takes time to himself, takes a look at what the issues were, knows what he needs to fix that, and owns it. And I think that's what makes him an amazing associate captain, right? That's why he's, one of the few that actually wears a permanent A because of that.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, who do you guys think impressed? Let us know down there in the comments. You can always let us know on social media as well. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be very exciting tomorrow night, this final preseason game. You're going to see some decisions made by the players themselves. Who wants it more? That's something to keep an eye on.
I can't wait. I think, and at this point, this is again, last night was as close to the NHL rosters we're going to get. Cooley still won't be playing tomorrow. Looking at the news, Cooley will be ready for regular season opener, but he will not be playing tomorrow against the Sharks. And McBain's coming back tomorrow, so it's gonna be pretty darn close to that starting lineup. So watching everything as close as we can.
Hopefully, well, I don't even know if the victory matters. Hopefully, we just see some intense battles, and I want to see everybody have their best game.
Honestly, I'm looking forward to tomorrow's game because I feel like you have a team where there's a lot of young guys in Utah who are still fighting for this spot. We talked about Boot and Simishev, where we talked about what their important is, but under the same breath, San Jose's got so much of young talent that also is fighting for a spot.
Yes.
Right? Like who wants it more to play alongside Celebrating and Smith and Eklund? Like I feel like if you're just a hockey fan in general, I'd be watching tomorrow's game. Even if preseason finale, great time to do it.
Absolutely. All right, we want to show you what's going on in Tucson, including their 10th anniversary jerseys. We've got a sneak peek of those for you coming right up. Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño back here with you, locked on Mammoth. Thanks for sticking around. Robyn, the Roadrunners, can you believe it's been 10 years? I can't.
I can't either. Have I really been covering hockey this long at this point?
For those of you who don't know, that was one of the things I was brought in the summer before that whole organization launched. And not in addition to handling the broadcasting for that team, I did the marketing and the advertising and the communications. And boy, that was something. Very short runway, very short lead time. But to be able to get that entire club up and running for me, I got there July. So I had July, August, September. It was crazy. It was just getting it together was insane, but it happened. Team launched, did great that first year, beat all the ticket goals, ended up with an average attendance of 4,100. And
wasn't a good team on the ice though, but
yeah.
Towards the second half, I mean they dealt with a lot of issues in that throughout the season, especially with the deal with Craig Cunningham going down and everything like that. But you're right though, they that was a great first year for them.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, at the end of the day, I was proud of the work we did in the first 2 years of that organization, but now it's been 10 years, and that's kind of crazy. But to see, go ahead, Robyn.
And I was also going to say is it also gives you some perspective. This is how long I've known Tom Callahan. And it's funny because the initial, the first thing I ever reached out to Tom was reaching out to him for a press pass. That's how because at the time he was running it, right? Tom was running it before another guy came in that essentially controlled it. But reached out to Tom for a press pass and met him in person, and I think directly met through my mentor and Tom's friend Tim Gasson.
That's right. And boy, that in a lot of ways seems like it was yesterday. In a lot of ways makes me feel pretty old. So,
I mean, yeah, 10 years.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. So, all right, all that said, it is the 10th anniversary of the Tucson Roadrunners, and they dabbled with some Kachina designs before, but had their traditional Roadrunners logo, colors, and jersey. Well, this year, they are going straight Kachina, and they have decided to make that their primary logo. Robyn, I know you've got some photos here. Let's share them with the folks on the YouTube side. And for those who can't see because they're listening, go ahead and describe what we're looking at.
Yeah, so what we're seeing is your traditional, Arizona Kachina design, with the, with that native pattern below, with a Roadrunners Kachina logo. You can see it's wearing the purple, which is what the previous Kachina logos have looked like for it. And the primary color here is green with the red trim, compared to the old ones, Tom. You remember these where they were black with like the purple trim on the shoulder. It's different. I mean, they're going all in on the green on this, and I think it looks good.
So we also have a white version of the Kachina jersey as well,
Which I
where
think looks better.
it's very crisp. I do like it. The shoulders are green, the bottom of the striping and the bottom of the arms are green, with again that native pattern around both the elbows of the jersey and at the waistline. Robyn, one of the things I mean, I would love to see one in purple. That's just me personally, but
Maybe they still
I
have
don't know.
maybe their purple one still exists. It's just as their third jersey.
Maybe I would like to see a purple one,
Because
but
they do have a purple one. I know
they
it's still
do.
somewhere in there. It's in their catalog. They do have a one where it's they had an away one where you see the green on the white one. It was purple, and the rest of it was purple. Again, their primary was black and purple for a while.
We'll see if they do that or not. But so these are the 10th anniversary jerseys, and if we have a look at the shoulder patch as well, I was wondering if they were going to do the cliched Roman numeral X on it, and I guess they do in the background the crossed hockey sticks. But really, what's in front is a mountainscape with a saguaro, and it's at night.
It's
You got the
classic
crescent
Tucson.
moon, and yeah, it really is. It's very much classic Tucson, and it has that classic Roadrunner on top of the patch, which I also like.
Yeah, the classic Roadrunner is among my favorites too. I love seeing that logo every now and then looking at the ice, which I do believe the Kachina logo that we see in the jersey, by the way, is actually going to be the primary logo on the ice in Tucson Arena as well.
Yes, so that's going to be pretty cool for this year. And then Robyn on the other shoulder. If this were Sesame Street and it was three of these kids are doing the same thing, and then there's the one kid in the gray square doing
One
their
of
own
these
thing,
things, it's not like the other.
that is on these beautiful, what looks to be like almost an off-white in this. Maybe it is a cream, maybe it is a crisp white,
It
but
does look cream actually.
it
Now that I
does.
look at it.
But on the green shoulder, we have a Mammoth head logo in the Mammoth colors, and it sticks out like a sore thumb.
It does. And here's the thing, like you and I have praised the Mammoth logo, and I think it looks great, right? But on this jersey, I just don't know if it fits. Like I maybe would like to see maybe a different logo on it, one of the alternate logos in like a black or something to kind of black it out, whatever. But
I'm going to go ahead and say you just don't need the Mammoth logo on this jersey. I understand why they did it. It's brand new. It's branding. I get it. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have had a Mammoth logo on this uniform. Not every American Hockey League team has their NHL parent club logo on it, and I think this detracts from what is otherwise a really nice jersey.
And Tom, I will say your opinion is shared among thousands of Arizona hockey fans.
Yeah, I could see that. Or put the Mammoth logo in the colors of the uniform that the Roadrunners wear. That would be a cool alternate thing to do. I mean,
Imagine if you turn that red or something, or purple.
Yeah, that would be just fine. I mean, look at
or
what New
sand,
Era does.
like a sand color.
Right. Look at what New Era does with their hats right now. They have so many different colors, and I'll just reference the Bills because that's my team. So many different color Buffalo Bills logos and color combinations that are not official team colors. I think it's widely accepted now to do that. So I'm a little, I don't know. I just don't think that one quite belongs there. It looks a little weird.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
let us know what you think, by the way.
I mean, and going back to like the primary logo, like I'm not a fan of green on green, where it's green, like green chest and green shoulders. I would like to see some kind of contrast.
I could see that. But that one I'd have to see in person.
If anything, if it was like green chest, maybe like with like or I'm trying to think what would look good in this scenario. Maybe if anything, you go with like the red. You keep the red primary color because that's the Roadrunner's primary color, right? You had it as the red, red with like the the green or like a sand on the shoulders or something. But
Yeah. Well, they didn't ask either one of us our thoughts on the design, so we did not get a chance to have input. So, but unfortunately,
but you know what? I still love classic Kachina, right? Those
yes,
designs are
yes,
going to be great. My
agree.
my league jerseys, by the way, a little fun fact. My league jerseys this year of my beer league is actually they're going to be printing. Each team is going to be wearing different color sets of Kachina designs. So
Oh, that's cool. All right, nice. Fantastic. Well, hey, let us know what you guys think down in the comments. Would you buy that? Is that already in your shopping cart? Or are you going to pass? Or do you at least like it? Do you not like it? Let us know what your thoughts are.
Are you
that
are you
10th
a Mammoth
anniversary
fan
look.
who is going to get some like who wants to get one, to support the Roadrunners, maybe find one in your
Maybe your favorite player goes down to Tucson.
Maverick Lamoureux has was already shown showcasing. He was actually wearing the jersey yesterday, kind of showing it off. So
Yeah, absolutely. So let us know what you think. Robyn, if they want to reach out to us to let us know on social what they think, where can they find us?
find us everywhere on social. I'm primarily active on managing the Twitter account /X at Robyn_Leaño and at Locked On Mammoth. Again, that's at Locked On Mammoth. And once again, my personal is at Robyn_Leaño.
You can find me on Blue Sky at Tom Talks and on Twitter at Callahan on Air. We thank you for participating, sharing the show. If you like what you see, please tell your friends about it. And we look forward to talking to you next time. Thanks for being a part of Locked On Mammoth.